first Spark speaker, Jack Bivens. So, Jack is a Region 2 competitor from the North Carolina Science and Engineering Fair. He lives in New Hanover County, North Carolina. He was actually born in Davis, California, and moved to North Carolina when he was 4 years old. He attended elementary school at New Horizons Elementary and now is attending school at Murray Middle. Outside of school, Jack loves to surf and hang out with friends. He also volunteers at the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher. When he was in third through fifth grade, he participated in science and engineering fairs, and he shifted in sixth grade to participating in Science Olympiad.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here talking to you guys today. Congratulations on making it to the state science fair. You guys should be so proud of yourselves. As Miss Gibson said, I'm Jack. I'm a seventh grader at Murray Middle School, and I have always loved animals. I've always been interested in conservation. I actually currently volunteer at the North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher as an educator volunteer, which is where I am out on the floor answering questions and talking to guests. So I have always loved conservation and animals, and I love the aquarium. So I am going to start off by asking you guys a question. So who here, by a raise of hands, likes to win? I know we're on Zoom, so I can't see everybody right now, but I'm guessing that most people raise their hands. I know I sure like to win. When I started doing science fair in the third grade, I really wanted to win. I had come up with a project that was related to animals and conservation, but I was told that it's so much more difficult to win with a project related to animals because animals are unpredictable, so it's hard to get accurate results, and there are a bunch more approvals and paperwork needed. So I was faced with a really difficult decision, whether I wanted to do a project that I was passionate about or something I was more likely to win with. I decided to go with what I was passionate about, even if I had less of a chance of winning. My project that year was about snakes' sense of smell and how they find food. In the end, my results didn't even support my hypothesis, but I went on to the state science fair and I won an award. I learned a lot of important things during my participation in the science fair that year. I learned that people really do care about conservation, as the judges were really interested and supportive of my project, and that you can use conservation and that you can use science to help with conservation. I also learned that when you do a project on something that you care about, it doesn't seem like a lot of work. Even though there were hardships, working through them was so much easier. And talking to the judges was so much easier than if I would have done something I didn't care about. Learning these things early on really helped me with my participation in the science fair, and it motivated me to continue to do animal conservation-based projects. For my fourth grade project, I went with a project that was focused on how if captive bred lorikeets are attracted to bright colors while feeding. I actually got this idea because at the aquarium we had a lorikeet exhibit. This experiment was way harder because not only did I have to get the extras approvals and forms, but I also had to get the aquarium's permission to let me perform my experiment. And the lorikeets only had a few more weeks on exhibit. But yet again, at every level, people could see how important it was to me, and they helped make it happen. The aquarium staff was awesome to work with. I continue to follow my passion, and my fifth grade project is the one I am most excited about. For this project, I wanted to see if I could make a material that could replace single-use petroleum-based plastic bags that could be digested by sea turtles and other marine life. For this project, I made two materials and they were both made out of homemade bioplastic and recycled paper pulp. My first material was made out of gelatin-based bioplastic, and my second material was made out of cornstarch-based bioplastic. I was so excited when I was actually able to make a solid material. I then tested all of the prototypes from each of my materials and a plastic bag through a strength test, a flexibility test, a cost test, and a digestion test. The digestion test was the hardest because I had to recreate a sea turtle stomach. it was even probably harder than having to make the materials themselves because I had to find the chemical makeup of a sea turtle stomach. I had to find the average temperature of a sea turtle stomach, and I had to recreate that in my garage. And the stomachs had to agitate like a sea turtle stomach would when they're swimming in the ocean. And I tested a plastic bag through all of these. So in the end, the results for that test were the gelatin-based material broke down into sediment within the first 3 hours of being in the stomach acid. And the cornstarch-based material broke down into small pieces after 6 days, and the plastic bag did not change at all. I also had to do a lot of research, interviews with scientists, and I even got to participate in a sea turtle necropsy where I got to see the organs of a deceased sea turtle close up. In the end, both of my materials passed all of my tests. This is a project that I'd like to take further in the future. It means so much to me. I put a ton of work into it, and when things got hard, I didn't give up. It was successful and it felt really, really good in the end. All right. Okay. Now, let's talk about how you win. So, really think about it next time you're coming up with a project idea. Think about what you're interested in. What are some questions you want to solve? What are some problems you want to solve? What are some questions you want to answer? Do you want to learn how to swing better in baseball to hit a home run? Do you want to find a replacement to fossil fuels? Regardless of your interests, your passion, there's science involved. Really think about it next time you're coming up with a project idea. And if you let your passions drive your projects, great things will happen. First, you'll love what you're working on. And even though you may still encounter challenges, working through them will be so much more rewarding. Second, you'll be way more comfortable talking to other people about your project. And last, if people see that you're passionate about something, they'll be inspired. And that may be the greatest outcome of all. Follow your passion, and you will never lose. All right.
That's excellent. Thank you, Jack. If y'all have access to the reactions, if you would like to share your joy with Jack. Thank you for inspiring us and pushing us to follow our passions. At this time, if anybody has a question for Jack, you can ask anything that's on your mind to Mr. Bivens. And I have a couple of questions to get us started. I've had the opportunity to talk to you several times actually now. And one of the things I noticed is while you were young doing your research, you had a lot of interactions with supportive adults. And you've been able to talk to me about even speaking at conferences. And so can you share with our young researchers on the session this morning kind of how did you start interacting with these adult scientists and were they receptive to you?
Yeah, so actually I started talking to I feel like the first people who I really started talking to about my projects were teachers, shout out to Miss Donna and Miss Christina at New Horizons and my parents as well. And then after starting to talk to the judges, and then in my 5th grade project, I got to talk to a sea turtle biologist. And then especially in the aquarium as well, just talking to people because they share the same interests as me and they kind of share the same love for the ocean and the environment, and that was really good for me to see that and be around that a lot. And then just talking to the judges helped a lot as well. And then especially talking at that conference was cool because I got to meet so many different people.
That's fantastic. And then the other thing I think that's really interesting about your transit or your pathway through this work is your work at the Fort Fisher Aquarium. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that got started?
Yeah, so I've been going to the aquarium since I was 4, since I had moved here. And I had some friends who had done volunteer work there through a program through their school, but my school didn't really have that. But I actually knew a bunch of people at the aquarium just from going there since I was so young. And so that really helped me to kind of like, and they knew me, so they knew that I had a really strong drive and a really like, I was really passionate about animals and my conservation work. So I think I started working there when I was like 9, and I'm still volunteering there today.
That's awesome. And so just one more question for you, Jack, and then we will, if folks end up having questions for Jack after, he will stay on the session. And so you can still continue to drop things in the chat for him. But as a young scientist, how did you feel? How were you treated by the scientists that you were speaking to at that conference?
I feel like it actually made me feel really good. I felt like I was really treated equally, and I think it was because of such my strong drive and my passion for it. Um, so like another like message to all like elementary schoolers, like if you are passionate about something and you're interested about it and you know about it and you're talking to these adults that like maybe do that in the field that you want to do later on in life, that's really good and really helpful because like you get to talk to them and you kind of feel really equal and you can kind of share your ideas with them, which is a really good experience.
Were you nervous?
At the conference,
Yeah.
yes, very very nervous.
Great. Yes. And I still, even as an adult, get nervous to speak sometimes. And
Yeah,
so thank you so much, Jack, for your
awesome.
willingness
Thank
to
you so
speak
much.
for us this morning.